MASH, tonight at 11:30 on TV2.
Tonight, in rural Minnesota, a community copes with the pain of the fiery deaths of 10 friends. Las Vegas and Atlantic City, which will hit the jackpot? Getting high on exercise, how to break the habit. Just some of the stories tonight in our report of what's happening in the USA today.
Good evening. A Minnesota town is in mourning. A young unemployed couple, John and Nancy Watson, lost all 4 of their children in a house fire there on New Year's Day. In addition to their children, Nancy's brother-in-law, his wife, their 2 children, and 2 neighbors' children were killed. Today, police closed their investigation, saying the cause of the fire will never be known. Those are the facts. 10 dead, cause forever unexplained. Our correspondent Beth Ruyak now tells us about how the town is trying to cope.
A tiny snow-covered town where most days the temperature settles below 0. It's in northern Minnesota, called Reamer, and for just about 400 people, it's home.
People are always, friendly. You know everybody in town, and they know you.
And that's why Reamer is in such pain. Everyone knew the people who were in this house on New Year's Eve. 4 children, their aunt and uncle, 2 cousins, and 2 neighbor kids.
I said, "You can't be kidding." I told her she had to be kidding. And she said, "No, I'm not." And she said, "I wouldn't do that, Dorothy. You know that."
Really frightful. Because we knew the people for years.
Almost everyone in town has driven out here. They point to the ashes and stare or cry. Some tell me they can't stop imagining smoke and fire engulfing the 10 people asleep on the 2nd floor, and most can't understand why no one got out.
I come back from the fire and I didn't want to go out and talk to anybody or do anything. I just kind of sat numb for a couple hours.
Nicholson's bank has set up a relief fund for relatives of the victims. Meanwhile, the fire chief says he still doesn't sleep at night.
You see the victims. You relive the fire, you just about drop off and you see that, you wake up, and you may get up, walk around the house, whatever.
At school, teachers made special efforts to help children through their fears.
Use words like, these children are dead, and also to name the children. We felt that was important, that we did not sidestep anything, and that we were right out front with it. So the kids are afraid to go to sleep at night. They're afraid that there's going to be a fire in their house.
It's going to be hard. I have a daughter that rode the school bus with her every day. These are the things that, as adults, we can understand, but we still can't help the hurt that these kids are going to be feeling.
No smoke alarms were found in the burned home. A store owner in town is now giving them away to anyone who needs one. At the coffee shop, more money is collected, and plans are in the works for a memorial funeral service. The parents of 4 of the children are still hospitalized for trauma. They had gone out briefly the night of the fire. Reamer has never had a tragedy like this, and even though it takes pride in being a place for survivors, right now, a good grip on memories and a lot of prayers will have to see them through.
The Memorial Fund has been established at the Security State Bank of Reamer. It is called the Reamer Fire Fund. And if you wish to send a donation, you can write to the bank at Post Office Box 190, Reamer, Minnesota, 56672. We have the final results for you tonight on our call-in about airline safety. Because of what we now know about an anonymous threat made before the bombing of Pan Am's Flight 103, we asked whether you believe passengers should be warned about bomb threats against airlines. Most of you say yes. More than 19,000 called in to say passengers should be warned. Nearly 4,000 feel airline passengers should not be warned. And now here's Bill with the duel between the desert and the boardwalk. Bill?
Thanks, Edie. Well, we'll start out with a figure that'll get your attention. $6 billion. That's what Americans will lose gambling this year. And while Las Vegas and Atlantic City try to make you feel like a winner, they are counting on your bad luck to pay for everything. That kind of money has also led to a war between Vegas and Atlantic City. Much like the big fights held in those towns, Las Vegas is the defending champ, but Atlantic City has become a formidable challenger. Here's USA Today's correspondent Bill Sternoff with that story.
Las Vegas, with all its glittering excess, its glamour, the lights, and money. And Atlantic City, where casinos cast giant shadows across adjacent decaying neighborhoods, are waging an endless battle to attract America's gamblers to one of the most famous strips in the world and an oceanside strip of boards. And both USA gaming meccas are upping the ante to increase their share of the lucrative gambling business. Every major Las Vegas hotel has plans to expand. And in Atlantic City, new casinos and a new rail station are under construction. And there are plans to expand Atlantic City's airport and convention center. Atlantic City has become a formidable challenger to Las Vegas, which had gambling all to itself for 40 years. But don't count Las Vegas out.
Those who predicted Las Vegas would be squeezed by Atlantic City in lotteries in state after state were wrong. Las Vegas is thriving as never before. Tourism is growing by an additional 1 million people a year. And the population is growing by 1,000 people a week.
Despite denials, Las Vegas and Atlantic City keep a close watch on one another. Some casino owners have properties in both cities where the gambling cultures are noticeably different. Las Vegas
is a destination resort town, and people make a conscious decision to come here, to spend time here 3, 4, 5 days and have a holiday.
But in Atlantic City,
they're not on a vacation. This is just a neighborhood crap game with a little more glitz and glitter, and they're here to shoot the lights out of the place.
Atlantic City, located a mere gas tank away from millions, is out to exploit its advantage over Las Vegas, which is miles from anywhere, but one of the leading USA convention cities. 17 million people went to Las Vegas last year. 30 million people went to Atlantic City. But which city reigns as the USA's gambling capital? Well, last year, Atlantic City's 12 casinos pulled in more than $2.5 billion. Las Vegas, with 60 casinos, grossed $1/3 billion more, partly because visitors to Las Vegas stay longer. The average visitor to Atlantic City stays 6 hours. In Las Vegas, 4 days. In Las Vegas, people don't just come to gamble.
The diversions here that the tourists have are phenomenal compared to Atlantic City.
Atlantic City and Las Vegas, each trying to dominate gambling. A rare matchup in which all bets are off.
There's no question that gambling is a profitable industry. Each slot machine, for example, costs only $5,000. And even after paying off the winners, the one-armed bandit earns the casino $100,000 a year. When we return, we'll have these stories.
Coming up, we'll take a look at some movie classics. What to do if you're obsessed with exercise. Now you can call home just like Maxwell Smart.
Your new book talks about dry skin. My skin gets so dry, I could scratch the word dry on it.
Well, I use Vaseline Intensive Care Lotion. It starts healing dry skin on contact. Watch this film. Thermophotography shows how Vaseline Intensive Care Lotion soothes the dryness, the redness, actually accelerates healing.
I can't write on it now.
Even hours later, you won't be able to.
You heard it here.
Vaseline Intensive Care Lotion starts healing dry skin on contact.
K95 FM's Bob Cooper.
Lucky Bucks is back. Win up to $5,000 cash every day. Just look for bills with 95 in the serial number. Then listen to K95 FM tomorrow morning at 7:15 for your chance to win up to $5,000 cash.
K95 FM, 50 minutes of country music an hour. And now, a better variety than ever before.
Listen tomorrow morning at 7:15. I want you to win $5,000 cash only on K95 FM.
Carol Windsor before Nutrisystem, Carol Windsor after Nutrisystem.
I lost 150 pounds in 15 months, and I feel wonderful. When I was overweight, I had very little self-confidence, and I wanted to stay home all the time. Now I can't wait to get out and go and do things with my family. My husband's always telling me how proud he is of me, and I like hearing that. My 6-year-old said, "Mommy, you look pretty now."
Call 250-1080 for the Nutrisystem nearest you.
To celebrate their grand opening, iMasters has asked me to announce their free offer. Right now, you get your frames for free. You can choose from over 600. They have free frames for people who are, conservative. Free frames for people who are hip. Free frames for the average Joe. Free frames for the average Joanne. They even have free frames for people with absolutely no taste whatsoever. Of course, there is one catch. You pay for the lenses, we pay for the frames.
This is the Women's Medical Group of Santa Monica in Los Angeles. It was born of necessity. 12 years ago, a female doctor discovered that the men didn't want women working with them. So she founded this practice and now has 7 doctors, 6 of whom are women, and they give women complete medical care. In fact, one of the patients here used her experiences to write a script that became the show Heartbeat. It had a brief run last summer and it's just come back this week, and viewers will notice Heartbeat has had a transfusion.
That lady didn't even bat an eye. It's like she was ordering fast food or something. I'll take a shake, the fry, an abortion, hold the pickle. Here it comes again. 1 minute we're marching for women's rights, the next we're taking them away.
Heartbeat is produced by Aaron Spelling, the creator of Dynasty. But this year's soap opera is out. The gritty LA law is the competition, so Heartbeat has more reality.
What are you saying, what? I should turn him in, report him for child abuse?
Child abuse and abortion are just a few of the issues to be tackled. The show will also explore the stress that working professionals encounter in their relationships. One relationship in particular.
I made a commitment. If I were a surgeon instead of a chef, this wouldn't be an issue. Why don't you talk a little louder? It's a big room.
Heartbeat is the first primetime show to introduce an openly lesbian relationship.
The idea was to sort of create a normal setting for 2 people who just feel differently than supposedly the average. It's not to get people angry. It's not to get people offended. It's not even necessarily to make people aware. It's just something else.
Unless you show them something that is honest, that is hard-hitting, that is risky, damn it, then I don't think that I think they'll turn and watch cable. The more we see this in primetime network television, the better it is for television.
For Lynn Whitfield, who plays Dr. Corey Baker, the show's message is strong and personal.
To be able to make a statement to America that there are fine doctors who are black and also women who are able to not only function just within the black community, but function in a mainstream practice is extremely important for me.
But the producers and cast are also quick to point out that this show isn't Gloria Steinem with a stethoscope. It just happens to depict the lives of working women.
We're now talking about women who I think prevail in our society. And this is really just a show to turn on at night, to relax, to find some solace in, some comfort, and know little support. That you are certainly not alone.
We're making a concerted effort here to kind of tell it like it is and have fun doing it. Not preach about it, just talk about it. This is what life is like.
Heartbeat airs tomorrow night on ABC. And of course, the producers are hoping they'll be rewarded for their hard work, both in ratings and the standard industry prizes. This is a town that covets its awards, the Emmys for television, the Oscars for the movies. They have a value you just couldn't put a dollar sign on until now.
Collector Showcase.
A Hollywood memorabilia dealer is fielding calls from around the world because he is selling Oscars. Among the items at last night's auction, the 1941 Oscar for interior decoration on the film How Green Was My Valley. It sold yesterday to a Florida entertainment executive for $17,715. Now, Motion Picture Academy lawyers are huddling to see if they can halt the sale because winners agree in writing not to sell their prizes. It raises the question, what about heirs and others? This is the 5th Oscar to be auctioned or sold by this Hollywood memory dealer.
If a movie starts with an idea, then a script, then casting, then filming, the end result of a movie, if it's good enough, is the Oscar. And if a person can own that, they really own something.
Yes, but did you earn it? Well, never mind. Next month, Mike Todd's 1956 Oscar for producing Around the World in 80 Days goes on the auction block. Well, 1939 is actually the best year for award-winning films. No one appreciates them better than our own video critic, Mike Clark. In tomorrow's USA Today newspaper, he's going to be reviewing some of the films that are now available on video cassette. And tonight, we wanted to give you a preview and a challenge. Try to name them before we tell you the title.
You know, I've seen hundreds like you all the way from Jacksonville to Sacramento, and you all think easy pickings will last forever.
You better mind your own business or you're heading for trouble.
Trouble is my business.
Well, you get plenty for me. I do as I like in this town, understand? And anyone who gets in my way is taken care of.
Like they took care of Heel.
Yes, just like that.
That's what I thought.
Let me see now, the Eiffel Tower. Your finger, please.
Why do you need my finger?
It's bad manners to point with your own. There, the Eiffel Tower.
And where are we?
Where are we? Now, let me see, where are we? Ah, here we are.
Like it? Oh, it's very nice. Good. Oh, Alec Kay. What's wrong with my old disposition?
Never mind, darling. I've always loved you despite your faults. I gotta get my drink.
I have to go down, too. Come on. Oh, Key. What's the matter? It's Michael. He's taken to whistling for us now.
Well, if you guessed all of those films, you're either over 40 or a film fan. And when we return, a cure for exercise addicts, shoes you can talk to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
2 a.m. I've got to get some Z's.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
Nitol helps you feel drowsy so you can get your Z's.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
There's nothing like waking up to my fresh-baked cinnamon rolls.
Oh, you poppin' fresh dough.
Oh, that's cinnamon.
I seen melting in. Oh, you poppin' fresh dough.
If you love me half as much as I love you,
His pure country music is irresistible.
you wouldn't worry me half as much as you do.
He's won 14 gold albums. From hee-haw to the Grand Ole Opry, he makes people happy. With good, honest country music everyone loves. Boxcar Willie.
I said the moon of Kentucky keep on shining.
Now the special magic of Boxcar Willie is captured in his all-new 2-record collection.
I got a feeling called the blues, oh Lord, since my baby said goodbye.
2 complete albums.
Hey, you get down the fiddle and you get down the bow, kick off your shoes and you throw them on the floor. Oh, lay that pistol down, babe, lay that pistol down.
It's the best Boxcar Willie collection ever.
She's a good-hearted woman in love with a good-timing man. Oh, I'm thinking tonight of my blue eyes.
All your best love favorites.
This old house once rang with laughter. This old house heard many shouts. Now she trembles in the darkness when the night wind walks about on the wings of a snow white dove.
This great new Boxcar Willie collection is not sold in stores.
I've been a-passing everything in sight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make a home tonight.
Stay tuned to order yours now.
He's in the jailhouse now. He's in the jailhouse now. He's in the jailhouse now.
Use your credit card and save COD charges by calling toll-free 1-800-242-4300. Or to save all additional charges, send check or money order for only $12.98 for albums or tapes to Boxcar Willie, P.O. Box 4118, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Remember, that's Boxcar Willie, P.O. Box 4118, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Are you addicted to exercise? Well, it's something you'll hear more and more about as people re-examine the exercise craze of the 80s. We've already started hearing that aerobics is not always good for you. And now experts say 20% of participants in most sports go too far, and some have a more serious obsession. If you're depressed when you miss a workout or continue to work out, even if you're injured, you may be a victim of exercise addiction.
I used to be a workaholic for working out.
That's definitely one of the most important things in my life.
I did come up with some creative ideas how to do aerobics in a cast.
Once you start working out, it becomes an addiction.
If you think addiction is a word that doesn't apply to exercise, health experts are asking you to think again.
Exercise is a very seductive thing. The more availability
there is, the more it's likely to lead to addiction. So I do think it is a growing problem.
Doctors and psychotherapists are seeing an increasing number of people who overindulge in exercise the way others overdo food, alcohol, or drugs.
It eases psychic pain in their life. Perhaps they suffer from unsuccessful relationships, or there's some other pain that they're not aware of.
Time was when I was running with broken bones on my feet, but I still ran. Time was when I had a broken rib and still decided I could teach a class.
Lana Mosso admits that she was a classic exercise-aholic. Long considered the aerobics guru of Minneapolis, Mosso says she willingly paid a price for her passion.
The broken bones, the abused throat from teaching too much, a body that maybe hurts when it really shouldn't have to.
These individuals don't use pain as their indicator to stop.
I've so far had 3 operations, and I have a 4th one to do in the spring. So I'm going to keep doing aerobics and hope for the best.
Fit looks good, Mike.
Even if a doctor is able to treat the physical problems in time, the exercise addict suffers other effects when he can no longer get his fix.
Very often they'll experience depression, irritability.
If I couldn't work out, I think I would not be a very nice person.
Sally Schiller is 5'7", weighs 105 pounds, and works out about 3 hours a day, 7 days a week.
In the afternoon, I work out on a rowing machine, a bicycle, and Stairmaster, and then I usually do aerobics.
But Schiller says compared to the 6 hours a day she put in as a member of the Cincinnati Ballet, her current workouts are a breeze. Is she an exercise fanatic or simply a fitness buff?
Is your exercise still pleasurable?
I guess it's almost like my hobby.
Are you able to get other forms of gratification?
I plan my weekend activities around my workout schedule, so I would eat at a certain time during the day so I know I could work out.
I have planned business trips around workouts.
Ron Zilberbrand and Marla Rabin are workout partners who exhibit some of the traits of exercise addiction, but they also practice one of the best-known solutions.
We'll tell each other to slow down. And I wanted to do more sets, but he kept saying, no, it's silly. Just calm down and we'll do it next week.
Rest can actually be as an important element of a training program as the exercise component.
Even diehard Lana Mosso now agrees that the old no pain, no gain story is out and cross-training is in.
I certainly encourage my students to get a balance with their exercise. So one day they would do aerobics. One day they'll maybe come in and do some flexibility. You know, you don't need to come every day. Take a day off. Take a day off. Let your body recover.
An additional note to that story, research shows that the 15 million women who take part in aerobics are more likely to become addicts than their male counterparts. Now here's more of what's happening in the USA today. It has the folks in Barrett Station, Texas, talking. The owner of a firewood lot says he saw the Virgin Mary with child on Christmas Eve. By day, there's just a broken table on the site, but at night, residents report seeing a strange light there.
I saw something that looked like the Virgin Mary. I could make out an arm, I could make out a veil, but not real plain. You had to use your imagination.
This must be the time of year for oddities, because in Virginia Beach, firefighters did a double take yesterday when ordered to respond to a gorilla on fire. It wasn't King Kong, it was a 40-foot statue outside of an amusement park. Officials put the loss at $10,000. And in Minneapolis, Minnesota, garbage man Tom Carey is trying to make his dump truck something special. He's collecting stuffed animals and displaying them prominently on the truck.
It gives us a little class.
And coming up, why it's now okay to put your foot in your mouth. But first, here's a look at tomorrow's weather map.
Oh, they tell me of a home where no storm.
For the first time on TV, Willie Nelson and country's greatest stars bring you Coming Home, an album that will lift your spirits like no other.
Me and Jesus,
Tom T. Hall.
got our own thing going. Me and Jesus.
Your country's greatest voices tell of tough times and the faith that saw them through.
One day at a time.
Christy Lane.
Sweet Jesus.
Chris Christopherson.
Lord help me, Jesus.
Come home to heart-touching songs you will never forget. Dolly Parton.
My coat of many colors my mama made for me.
Merle Haggard.
One more reason for my mama's hungry eyes.
Jim Reeves.
Precious memories.
Hear country legends with their greatest sacred moments. Hank Williams. And Elvis Presley's gospel million seller.
There will be peace.
Write down this address and send for Coming Home Now. You get 2 records, 2 cassettes, or 2 8-track tapes for only $12.98. Each beautiful Coming Home treasury includes the beloved songs of home, faith, and family. Send for Coming Home Now. Hear songs so touching they will make you cry. Like Walter Brennan's Old Rivers.
Across the fields I see that mule, Old Rivers.
Or Old Shep.
When I was a lad.
The Deck of Cards.
And Old Shep.
The Tramp on the Street.
But suddenly it happened.
Songs that will bring you strength and assurance every time they are played. The most inspiring album we have ever offered. Send $12.98 to Coming Home at this address now.
And welcome to the back page. Well, first there were pet rocks, and then people paid good money to buy antique dirt. And look what's next.
Now you can talk into a shoe. A 24-year-old has started putting telephones in shoes, and he's being paid handsomely for his invention.
This is Smart. Maxwell Smart, Agent 86.
You remember Maxwell Smart, 60s television's not-so-secret agent whose phone had lots of soul?
Hello. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's Dave.
David LeBlue was a college student hooked on reruns of Get Smart when he wondered if life could imitate art.
We can get them to you. No problem. We just moved into this little apartment and we needed a phone. We're watching Get Smart. We used to watch it every single day. And I made a lot of things with my hands and out of wood usually, and I mentioned maybe I ought to make a phone.
The first one was made on a shoestring. It cost $12 to convert a size 9 Oxford, and the idea was off and running. LeBlue teamed up with a Boston novelty company. It now costs $65 to talk into a shoe. Thousands have been sold. Bloomingdale's called it one of the hottest-selling items this Christmas.
There's so many Get Smart fans out there that just remember the show and think it's such an unusual way to talk on the telephone.
LeBlue, who got smart from Get Smart, has found that not every shoe is suitable. Golf shoes, for instance, are a problem. And so are ice skates.
Oh, golf shoes and ice skates. Tomorrow we will investigate the use of contact lenses. What doctors are putting in your eyes may not be safe.
And that's our report of what's happening in the USA today. Good night.
Good night.
Travel arrangements furnished by Delta Airlines. Where the sun goes, so does Delta. To Florida, the Bahamas, California, Mexico, and Hawaii. At Delta, we love to fly, and it shows.